11 a.m. Konoha. It was the morning of the second day. Naruto and Yumi would set sail later on that night and arrive in Sea Country around this time tomorrow. Well, actually, Naruto had decided that he and Yumi would leave in the afternoon. He thought it would be great to surprise everyone by arriving earlier than what they expected. Naruto smiled at the thought of seeing his adopted family, but his facial expression turned serious when he thought about what happened yesterday. Flashback, Konoha, 8 a.m. yesterday. Naruto, Yumi, Mai, Jiraiya, and Tsunade were in front of a house that was located behind the Hokage monument. Tsunade looked at Naruto and handed him the key. "I think you should do the honors." Naruto took the key and opened the door. When he stepped in the house, it was clear that no one had kept it clean. There was dust everywhere, revealing the 18 years of desertion. Naruto walked into the living room, which didn't really reveal much. Everyone followed Naruto as he walked through the house. He continued until he came to the kitchen. Nothing fancy, just a simple wooden dining table and everything else that a kitchen would have. The walls were white, or at least they used to be. They were now sickly beige. Naruto didn't dare open the refrigerator. Whatever was in there was probably alive by now. Jiraiya spoke. "Naruto, I think we should head to your father's library." Naruto looked at Jiraiya. "If you guys want to go, then be my guest. I want to look around a bit more." Jiraiya motioned for Yumi, Tsunade, and Mai to follow him. Naruto was left alone to look around at what would have been his home had it not been for the fox. Naruto continued his trek upstairs, where he assumed the bedrooms to be located. Naruto noticed that there were 5 bedrooms. The room straight ahead was what he was assumed to be his parents' room. He entered the room, and it was by all accounts nice. But like the room downstairs, dust had collected. Naruto ignored the dust and sat down on the maroon-colored bed. He just studied the room for a moment until his eyes landed on a mantle with pictures on it. He stood up and walked over to the mantle to see the pictures. He saw his father in a picture with a younger Kakashi, a boy, and a female. Must be his Genin squad, Naruto thought to himself. He continued to look at the other pictures. One had Tsunade and Jiraiya. Another had him, and a third. Naruto noticed a picture with a 4th and a woman holding hands. Naruto picked up the picture. For the first time ever, he actually could put a face to his mother. "I took that picture, you know." Naruto turned around to see Jiraiya. Naruto just continued to look at the picture. Jiraiya continued. "I saw the two of them walking and holding hands, and I thought it would be good. I think you should take it. I mean, it's just going to collect dust here." Naruto looked at Jiraiya without saying a word. He turned his gaze back onto the picture. "They look so happy here. I wonder how things would have been if they were alive." Naruto placed the picture back on the mantle and walked past Jiraiya out of the room. The Toad Sage looked back at the picture and smiled, thinking of the good old days. He then proceeded to follow behind Naruto. Naruto headed to the library. The letter that Kakashi had given him had told him to head there. When he arrived at the library, he found Mai looking through a book, while Tsunade and Yumi were looking around. Naruto walked up to the group, causing everyone to look at him. "I must ask you all to leave. From here on out, I have to do this on my own." Tsunade, Yumi, and Mai nodded, and proceeded to exit the library. Jiraiya, who was waiting by the door, looked at Naruto with a concerned gaze. "Will you be okay, Naruto?" He responded without even turning his back to his sensei. "Yeah, I'll be fine. Give me about 20 minutes or so." Jiraiya closed the doors as he exited the room, leaving Naruto by himself. Once Jiraiya was gone, Naruto pulled out the note Kakashi had gave him. The letter said to go to the ninjutsu scroll section, and in the center of the wall, between the bookshelves, I should do the hand signs for bird, dog, pig, snake, and monkey. Naruto arrived at the section he was informed to go. He was now standing in front of a plain white wall. Naruto just shrugged and did the required hand seals. When he finished, he pressed his hands against the wall. When he did this, the wall transformed into a door with the shape of a kunai in the center. Recognizing that the kunai Kakashi had given him was some sort of key, Naruto pulled out the kunai and placed it inside of the hollow space. When he did, the seal in the kunai began to glow a bright red. In a matter of seconds, the door opened. Naruto stepped inside of the dark corridor. When he took a couple of more steps, the sound of the door behind him closing caused him to turn around. He wasn't worried, so he continued down the dark corridor toward the light-filled room. Naruto noticed that along the walls were lanterns. With the minor Katon Jutsu, the hall was now lit. You can now see the brown stone walls that appeared black due to the lack of light. The young man continued until he came to a room that reminded him of a trophy room of some sorts. The floor was covered in red carpet and the walls were a pearl white. He noticed that the room had 2 bookshelves of what he assumed to be scrolls. The thing that caught his attention was a kunai in the wall, and the scroll that was under it in a glass case. It didn't take a rocket scientist to figure out that Hiroshi no Jutsu was in that scroll. Naruto walked over to the case. Okay, now for the hand seals that unlock the case. Naruto performed the hand seals of the bird, rat, ox, and the tiger. When he finished, he placed his hand on the circular silver crest in the case. He heard a click that he believed to be the case unlocking. He was right. He lifted up the case and gently took out the scroll. Naruto opened the scroll to confirm that it was the jutsu. It was the Hiraishin, alright. Naruto rolled up the scroll and placed it back in its case. I will come back for it later. I'll try to learn the technique when I get back from seeing Ryo-sensei. I think it's best I look around more to see if I find any other scrolls. Naruto continued walking around in the room. He took scrolls off of the shelves and glanced through them. Some of the techniques were interesting, others were of no interest. However, he came across a scroll that talked about the Rasengan. He read it intensely. So, that's why Purry Sage wanted me to try and combine my element in the Rasengan. I see, the 4th was in the process of trying to do this. Naruto rolled the scroll back up and placed it on the shelf. Naruto was finished looking around. He decided to exit the room and head back to the others. Yumi and the others were all gathered in the living area when Naruto came back. He looked at everyone. Let's go, I've seen all I needed to see. Tsunade and Jiraiya looked at each other. The group followed Naruto out of the house. Yumi caught up to Naruto. So Naruto, where did you go? I went to look at the technique that my father wanted me to learn, Naruto answered. So, have you seen the Hiraishin scroll? Where is it? Tsunade asked. I can't tell you. The fact is, the 4th created the technique, not only with the intention of it being deadly, but he intended to keep the technique in the family, much like the Naras, Akimichis, and the Yamanakas. The technique is safe. Oh, I almost forgot. Naruto threw the scroll in the air and burned it with a Gyokyo no Jutsu. Tsunade's brow elevated in curiosity. What was the purpose of burning the letter? Naruto turned his head to look at Tsunade in the eye. I was instructed to do so. That scroll contained the secrets necessary to obtain the Hiraishin. The 4th didn't want anyone but me to know where the technique was, and how to get to it. Oh well, Naruto, you know you have access to that place anytime. Well, I have Hokage business to take care of. Naruto, I expect you to see me before you leave tomorrow. I want to talk to you in private, Tsunade said to the blonde ninja. End of flashback. Naruto, who was about to go speak with the Hokage, looked at Yumi, who was packing their bags. I'm going to see Granny. Since you're almost done packing, why don't you come along? We could grab breakfast after the meeting. Yumi stuffed the last bit of clothes in the suitcase. She then looked up at Naruto. I would, but I really don't want to wait around outside. Why don't I just meet you at Ichiraku when you're done? Naruto just shrugged. Okay, whatever. He turned to exit the room. He stopped at the door and turned back to Yumi. Did your mother change her mind, or is she still going to stay here? She said she's staying. She said she had to help your perverted sensei out with something, Yumi informed them. They both thought simultaneously. Probably to help that perverted book of his. Well, I'll meet you at Ichiraku. Naruto exited the room and headed to the Hokage Tower. Hokage Tower, 10 minutes later. Naruto was sitting directly across from Tsunade. She was studying him, which was making him uncomfortable. She finally spoke. The trials were difficult, I presume. More than you know. Is that the reason you called me here? Naruto asked. Yes, I want to know what happened, Tsunade told the boy. Naruto let out a sigh. He didn't really want to tell the story, but he decided to tell her. Look, I'll just give you the gist of it. First trial tested my will to fight. The next trial tested my faith in myself and my abilities. The Kyuubi kept on begging me to use his power, because when I'm in a pinch, I usually draw the fox's power. However, I refused his power. Really, there's nothing wrong with using the Kyuubi's power. It is a part of me. But I learned in that test I should rely and trust in my powers. The last test was hell for me. I basically relived all the negative events in my life. The test was to test my heart. In a nutshell, the purpose was to see if I would give in to anger and hatred. Obviously, I didn't, or else I wouldn't be standing here before you with a blade at my side. From what I can gather, the test was hard. Anyway, when you get back, I will have a couple of missions lined up for you. Don't worry, it's nothing too hard, and you won't be away from Yumi for many days. The council is on my ass about paying you a large sum, and you only did 2 missions so far. I told them that you were training towards aiding us in the war in the coming 6 months. Well, I really had nothing else to say to you, so you're free to go. Naruto stood up and walked to the door. Naruto! Tsunade yelled, slightly causing the man revered in rain and rock to turn around. Have a safe trip, okay? Naruto was a little surprised by Tsunade's statement. He just nodded. Thanks, hopefully I will. Later, Granny. Yumi was heading to Ichiraku when she heard a voice yell out her name. She turned around to see Ino, Choji, and Shikamaru. Ino and the rest of Team 8 as they caught up to Yumi. Hey Yumi, where are you heading off to? I was going to meet Naruto at Ichiraku. Where are you guys heading? Yumi asked Ino. Well, we don't get to see each other much, so once a week, if we're not on a mission away from the village, we meet up and have a team lunch. Do you want to join us? The more the merrier, Ino said to the girl. I don't want to impose. Besides, I have to meet Naruto, Yumi stated. Choji looked down the road to see Naruto heading towards them. Hey Naruto, over here, Choji bellowed, causing everyone to turn to Naruto's direction. Naruto walked up to the group. Ino, Choji, Shikamaru, Yumi, you ready? You guys are joining us today. I'm trading, and I'm not taking no for an answer. Besides, you skipped out on me when I was going to make you breakfast a week or so ago. You're not skipping out this time, Ino said in a loud, energetic voice. Shikamaru just shook his head. She always have to be this loud. What did you say, Shikamaru? Ino said venomously. Shikamaru, realizing that he spoke out loud, shook his head. I didn't say anything, really, Ino. Oh, okay, well, come on, let's go, everyone. Ino grabbed Yumi's hand and pulled her along. Naruto looked at Choji, then at Shikamaru. I almost feel sorry for you guys. Ino can be bitchy at times, but she wouldn't be Ino if she wasn't a loudmouth bitch, Shikamaru stated. Choji nodded in agreement. Yep, that's her Ino. Well, let's join them, and I'm kind of hungry. What else is new? Shikamaru said under his breath. The 3 young men followed Yumi and Ino inside the restaurant. Naruto and everyone else were sitting at a table eating the barbecue on the grill. Yumi was sitting next to Naruto, while Ino, Choji, and Shikamaru were sitting across from them. Ino looked at Naruto. Well, Naruto, now that you're back, do you have a mission lined up? Naruto shook his head. No, Yumi and I are hanging out at 4 this afternoon. We're going to be in Sea Country for 2 weeks. When I get back, I'll be doing missions and such. Ino looked away and mumbled. For someone getting paid 90 million Ryu, you sure get a lot of vacation time. Did you say something, Ino? Yumi asked. Ino smiled at the girl. Oh, it's nothing, just saying how great this food is, that's all. Choji stopped stuffing his face and looked at Naruto. Naruto, a while back you stormed away from Kakashi's house, pissed with some weird kunai in her hand. Do you mind telling us why you were so pissed at Kakashi? Ino choked on her meat. She didn't expect Choji to be so forward. Naruto was sipping on a glass of water, put it down, and looked straight into Choji's eyes. It's personal business that I don't wish to talk about. Ino, after collecting herself, spoke. Come on, Naruto, tell us why. Yumi shook her head. Shikamaru placed his hand on Ino's and shook his head as well. Ino knew to leave it alone. Yumi looked at everyone who grew quiet and decided to change the subject. So Ino, how are the plants? They're wonderful. I actually have to work at the shop today. The girls continued their talk. Shikamaru spoke to Naruto in a low voice. The technique associated with that kunai. Do you know it, or will you learn it? Naruto shrugged. I don't know, maybe. You're still an idiot. You do know that, Naruto, Shikamaru said. And you are an over-analytical lazy ass. Why are you worried about me learning some jutsu? Naruto asked. I'm not, but I do believe that it will benefit Konoha if you would learn it. Anyway, do you know what type of mission Tsunade will stick you with once you return? Shikamaru questioned. No, she didn't say. It doesn't matter. The sooner this war is over, the better. Naruto stood up. Yumi, come on. I want to make sure that we have everything before we leave. Yumi stood up. Well, I think we packed everything, but okay. Let's go make sure. You know, I'll stop by the flower shop to see you when I get back. Shikamaru, Choji, you be safe. Choji spoke in between bites. Sweet waiter, Yumi. Yumi stifled a giggle, while Shikamaru shook his head in shame. The couple left the group to their devices and headed back to the hotel. Sea Country, 4 hours later. It was 3 in the afternoon, and Hayami was bored. She trained with her father this morning and had the rest of the day free. She wanted to train with her older cousins, but they didn't want to because they said she would only get in their way. Her friends in the village were all busy doing stuff and didn't have time. Her mother was also busy. The girl who was lying in her bed looking at her ceiling was bored. What can I do? Big Brother Naruto won't be here until tomorrow. But I want to do something today. There's a circus in town. Maybe I can ask Mom or Dad to take me. The little girl got off of her bed and headed to her parents' room. When she entered her parents' room, her mother and father were both on their way out, but they stopped short to avoid a collision. Kaori looked at Hayami. Hey sweetie, do you need something? The little girl looked at her mother, spoke. Mom, there's a circus in town and I would love to go. It's so boring and I have nothing to do. Could you take me? Kaori shook her head. Sorry honey, but your father and I have an important meeting to go to. You know how these clan meetings drag out, but how about tomorrow? The little girl had her head down. Her mother heard her mumble. Okay. Ryuho bent down to match his daughter's height. Don't be sad, Yami. We will take you tomorrow, okay? I wish I could take you, or if I could, get someone. Shinji's voice made everyone turn around to face him. Lord Ryuho, you and Kaori have to hurry, or you will be late. Ryuho gave a smile only Hayami could see. He then spoke, so only she could hear. If you want to go today, I will see to it that you go. The girl's face lit up. You mean it? Yes, of course. Ryuho stood up and walked to Shinji. Change of plans. Shinji, you don't have to attend this meeting. I have something better for you to do. Shinji was ecstatic, although he didn't show it on the outside. He was happy that he didn't have to sit through another boring clan meeting. Eager to know what he was going to do, he asked his uncle. So, what is it that you want me to do? Ryuho placed a hand on his nephew's shoulder. I want you to take Hayami to the circus today. Shinji's eyes started to twitch. You want me to play babysitter? I'd rather go to the meeting. Ryuho put his hands together and started pleading. Come on, Shinji, do this favor for me. I would do it, but you know, Kaori and I have to be at this meeting. Shinji shook his head. Ryuho looked down to his left, thinking how he could get Shinji to do this favor. An idea came to his head, and he looked up at his nephew. Okay, if you take her, I will give you. Ryuho whipped out Jiraiya's latest book, the new Icha Icha Paradise. Kaori's eyes were now twitching. She slapped him in the back of his head. You can't give him that book. To even think Shinji would be persuaded to do something because he would willingly give him Icha Icha Paradise. You should be ashamed of bribing your nephew with that sort of material. Shinji thought to himself. Damn, I was about to accept until Kaori opened her mouth. If I would have accepted that, it would make me look like a pervert. Now, I gotta wait a week until the store gets the new shipments. Thanks a lot, Kaori. The second strongest member of the clan looked at his uncle and coolly responded. I will not be persuaded by such a book. Ryuho thought of something else. Okay, anything you want, as long as it's not extreme. I will get it. Just name it. Shinji motioned for his uncle to come closer, so he could whisper in his ear. While Shinji was whispering in his ear, Ryuho's eyes went wide. He backed away from his nephew. No, anything but that. Come on, Shinji, have a heart. Those are collector's items. Please, Shinji. Shinji spoke while sporting a victory smile. You love your daughter, right? Look at Hayami and tell me, can you turn down that face? Hayami looked at her father with puppy dog eyes. Ryuho turned away from his daughter and closed his eyes. God damn it, not those damn eyes. The image of Hayami kept coming up in his head. He decided he wanted his daughter to be happy. He slumped his shoulders in defeat. Alright, Shinji, you win. Come by later on tonight or tomorrow, and I will have them all ready. Shinji looked at Hayami. We'll go into town around 7 o'clock tonight and catch the 8 o'clock show, okay? The girl nodded vigorously with an ear-to-ear grin. Shinji waved goodbye to everyone as he left. Hayami skipped towards her room, happy that she was going to the circus in town. Kaori looked at her husband, who looked like he lost something special. Her curiosity got the best of her. So, what exactly did he ask for? The first 10 author-signed copies of our Icha Paradise series. Kiori's eyes were twitching. You're giving away the first volume of the series? Did you forget how hard it was for us to get that volume and have it signed by Jiraiya? I know, but those damn eyes of her, I couldn't say no. Don't worry though, I'll think of something to get it back from Shinji, he said, hoping that would reassure his wife. She just rolled her eyes and left him standing there. She spoke while walking. You better think of something, or you will be resorting to that book to give you pleasure. Kiori knew she was wrong, but she was glad it was him and not her. Those damn eyes of her are hard to refuse. I would have done the same thing too. Riho caught up to his wife and the two walked toward the meeting in silence, thinking of their daughter and the first volume from perhaps the greatest romance novelist on the planet. This wasn't Riho's day, not at all. Konoha, 3:30 p.m. Naruto and Yumi were all set to leave. With a backpack of clothes on both of their backs, they were ready to go. Staying outside of the hotel were her mother and Jiraiya. The couple was saying their farewells. "My, why don't you come with us?" Naruto asked his mother-in-law. "I already told you, Naruto. I'll wait for you to get back. Besides, the bathhouses here in Konoha are the best. Don't worry about me. Jiraiya will be here." Mai informed the couple with a smile. Naruto and Yumi simultaneously thought, "That's what I'm afraid of." Naruto looked away from Mai and turned his attention towards Jiraiya. "Perfect Sage, I shouldn't have to say it. You already know. In any event, we will be back in about 2 weeks. Try not to get into trouble while I'm gone, okay, Perfect Sage?" Jiraiya smiled as his pupil was scratching the back of his head. "Come on, Naruto, did you forget who you're talking to?" Yumi gave Jiraiya a serious look. He knows exactly who he's talking to, which is why he said what he said. "I would rather you not get my mother mixed up with you and your dealings, Perfect Sage. Don't worry, Yumi, I can take care of myself. I was doing it before you were born. I will see you guys in 2 weeks, okay? Enjoy your time away, you guys are young. When you give me grandkids, you won't have the time to get away as much." Mai said the last part with a dreamy look in her eyes. Naruto and Yumi became pale at the thought of kids. Naruto grabbed Yumi's hands. "Well, Mai, we have to get going. I hope you have a good time. Bye." Naruto and Yumi both hurried off. Mai looked at Jiraiya and started to laugh. "I knew that would get them off my case. Every time I bring up grandkids, those two run for the hills. Well, since they're gone, I think it's time we start on the Icha Paradise Volume 9. I have so many ideas. Let's go and get a few drinks and discuss them." "I can't wait to hear your ideas, because I got some great ones too. This volume is going to be awesome," Jiraiya said with excitement. The two headed off to the local bar to discuss ideas about the new book. Naruto and Yumi were walking through the village, heading towards the southern gate, while talking about various things of little importance. After about 10 minutes of walking, they reached the gate and walked through. When they were on the outside of the gate, Naruto changed the topic. "Hey Yumi, about what your mother said earlier. Is that something?" Yumi smiled at Naruto and decided to fill in the words that he couldn't get out. "Do I want kids? It is something that I think about. Yes and yes, but I know that you and I are not ready to be parents right now." Naruto let out a sigh of relief. "I'm so glad, because I'm not ready to be a parent yet. Anyway, now that that's out of the way." Naruto placed his backpack in front of him. He then motioned for Yumi to get on his back. "Walking will take forever. I want to get to the docks quickly." Yumi climbed up on his back. "Naruto, try not to go too fast. You know how I get." Naruto took off before she could even finish her sentence. Moving through the trees at incredible speed, Yumi was literally turning blue as Naruto continued to move through the trees. "I don't even know why I tried." Naruto turned his head slightly. "You okay back there, Yumi?" After regaining her composure but still feeling a little queasy, "I'll manage." Naruto continued to move through the trees with the not-so-well Yumi. "I can't wait to get to Sea Country. This should be a good 2 weeks." Sea Country, 7:30 p.m. Shinji and Hayami were walking around in the town. They had 30 minutes to kill before the show started. Hayami and Shinji were walking through the street when the girl saw a toy stuffed fox. She looked at Shinji. "Shinji, can I please have that doll? It's so cute." "No," he simply said with no emotion. Hayami pouted. "Why not?" "Because taking you was the only part of the bargain. Anything else is extra," Shinji said to his little cousin. The girl turned her head. Pouting, she mumbled, "Big brother Naruto would have gotten me that stuffed fox, but I got stuck with mean old Shinji." I heard that. I'm not Naruto, and I'm not buying you that stuffed fox, so deal with it, Shinji said to the little girl. You're cruel, Shinji. So, what are we going to do for the next half an hour? The girl asked. I don't know, maybe we should go wait in line. We'll be there before the crowd builds up, and we'll be able to get good seats, Shinji said, hoping that the girl would forget about the stuffed animal. Okay, but can I get some cotton candy, Shinji? Shinji looked at the girl at his side. Sure, he didn't want to take her to the circus, and the only reason he was doing it was because he was receiving a great reward. However, he didn't want to be mean. He saw how almost all of their other cousins were the ones close to her age, and a little older treated her. Okay, I'll buy you some cotton candy. Geez, you eat too many sweets as it is. The girl didn't hear him. She was too busy jumping up and down, happy that she was going to get some candy. Shinji just shook his head at his cousin's antics. Hopeless, he looked at the girl. Hayami stopped her jumping. She looked at Shinji. Yes? If you stop jumping, we could go and get you that candy while getting in line as well. Near the crowd is building. Shinji saw the big tent about 2 blocks away from the shopping center they were at. He was indeed right. The crowd was filling in. Ryo's nephew turned to his right to see a man walking around with cotton candy on a stick. He walked up to the man, with Hayami tagging along behind him. Going for the wallet inside of his blue gi, Shinji pulled it out and took out a couple of Ryu and gave it to the man. The man handed the cotton candy to the girl and gave her a friendly smile that the girl returned. Shinji and Hayami headed towards the larger than normal tent, where the line for the circus was forming. The girl was eating her cotton candy, oblivious to the world around her, while Shinji was taken in the scenery. Shinji looked at the line. He was aggravated that it got as long as it did. Things I do for my family. This show better be worth it, Shinji thought, as they headed towards the long line. Konoha borders. Kakashi and his squad were sitting around the campfire, eating their meals. Tsunade and Tenten had just finished their afternoon patrols. Kakashi and Asuma would run their patrol from around 10 p.m. to about 5 a.m. that morning. Hanabi looked at Kakashi. Lord Kakashi, can I ask you something? Please, just call me Kakashi. When you add that honorific title, it just makes me feel old. You can ask me a question, Kakashi told the Hyuga sitting across from him. You are one of the top jonin in the village, probably the most widely respected, and one of the most feared because of the Sharingan you possess. Father said that you use that eye better than most Uchihas did. I'm curious, Kakashi, how did you get that Sharingan, and can you use it? I thought a Kekai Genkai could only be used by clan members. Shizune and Asuma both looked at each other. Then, at the copy ninja. There are a couple of things that those who know Kakashi knew were off limits to talk about. 1, the Sharingan in his left eye, and 2, Rin. Kakashi didn't talk about his teammate, but very few knew why. And last but not least, 3, his father. Those who knew the history of the White Fang probably knew why this would be a sore subject for Kakashi. The silence was maddening. Everyone was waiting for Kakashi to respond. Well, you asked 3 questions. Which one do you want me to answer? Kakashi said in a nonchalant tone. I'd like to know how you acquired the Sharingan. Hanabi's demand caused Tenten and Konohamaru to stare at Kakashi intently. In a somewhat sad tone. It was a gift. That's all I will say about that. Hanabi narrowed her eyes a little. She really wanted to know how he got that eye, but she knew that pressing the issue would get her nowhere. Okay, if you don't want to tell me, fine. I just want to know, is it true what they said about you knowing more than 1,000 jutsus? Maybe. I don't get caught up in gossip. Hanabi was getting slightly mad at the fact that he was not answering her questions. He was going around them. She had one more question. Usually the top ninjas are in Anbu. Were you ever part of Anbu, Kakashi? Kakashi placed a hand to his chin and started to slightly stroke it. He then looked at the girl. I'm too lazy for Anbu, don't you think? She laughed slightly at that. He was more than right about that. He was incredibly lazy. Anbu only took the top ninjas, and although he was a top ninja, he was probably too lazy to be a member. Asuma and Tenten, who were in Anbu at one time or another, just smiled at their fellow comrade. Tenten spoke to Hanabi. You know how secretive Anbu is, Hanabi. Do you think Kakashi would tell you if he was in Anbu? Probably not, but I could always find out from Neji, Hanabi stated. What do you mean? You can find out from Neji, Konohamaru asked. Neji's a captain, you dope. Being daughter of the head of the Hyuga clan had its perks. I know everything that goes on in the clan, Hanabi said with a bit of pride. Shizune spoke. Well, being the Hokage's assistant and watching her work closely with Anbu, Neji cannot give out such information. Changing the subject, did you guys both enjoy the meal that I prepared? Asuma and Tenten both commented on how delicious the food was. Kakashi joined in the conversation, which left Hanabi and Konohamaru on the outside looking in. Konohamaru leaned over to whisper in her ear, Hey, Hanabi, let's tag along with Kakashi and Asuma. The girl allowed her noise to show in her face. 1. Why are you near me? 2. Why would I want to do that? Why do you think they chose to patrol in the night? There has to be a reason, and I think that the reason has to do with there being ninja out there to fight. Konohamaru gave a devious smile when he saw the girl's eyes lit up with excitement. He knew he could get her to go if he kept picking away at her. Fighting an enemy could be exciting. I thought the Hyugas were a clan of good fighters. I don't believe it. She snapped. We are a clan of great warriors. I will go to show the true power of my clan. Konohamaru put his arm around Hanabi and pulled her close. Yes, this is going to be so great, Nabi. While her eyes were closed, her eyebrows started to twitch and a vein started to form on her forehead. Nabi? Everyone turned around when they saw Konohamaru eating dirt. Judging by the bump on his head, it was safe to assume that the fuming Hanabi standing over him was the culprit. I can tolerate Hanabi, but I draw the line with Nabi. You got that? Kakashi turned to Asuma. I see your luck with women runs in the family, he said dryly. Don't associate me with that, the cigarette addict Jonin said. Kakashi stood up. Well, in either case, we have about 2.5 hours. I'm going to use that time to rest. Asuma got up as well. That's a great idea. I could also use some rest as well. The two Jonin headed to separate tents that sat alongside one another. Tenten, who was twirling a kunai in her hand, spoke. I guess it's my night to watch over the campsite. Don't worry, Tenten. I'll stay up and help keep you company, Shizune said to the girl sitting next to her. There's no need for that, Shizune, Tenten said to her idol student. I insist, Tenten nodded. Although she didn't want Tsunade to stay up for her, she was glad that she wouldn't be up alone. Watching the camp area while everyone was sleeping or patrolling the nearby area was about as boring as looking at a rock. 8 p.m. on a boat somewhere at sea. Naruto and Yumi were looking off into the vast sea. The mixture of purple and orange in the sky made the sea sparkle as if diamonds were scattered across the water. It was a beautiful sight to behold. Naruto, how long will it take us to get there? Naruto, who was sitting on the side of Yumi, responded. We'll arrive in about 3 hours or so from now. Everyone will be asleep. Well, maybe not Shinji or Ryuho-sensei, but I'm pretty sure everyone else will be asleep. Is it okay to wake them? I mean, shouldn't we just have waited and come around 8 in the morning tomorrow? The girl questioned. Well, we could have done that, but I wanted to surprise Hayami when she woke up. Also, I wanted to talk to Ryuho-sensei, the scroll he gave me the night before I left. Well, I just have a question that only he can answer. Yumi nodded, satisfied with the answer that Naruto had given her. The girl turned her head from Naruto and back to the sea. Naruto moved his hand at the center of his chest and unbuckled the sword belt, which held the sword and the scabbard diagonally across his back. Naruto held the sword in his hand, inspecting it. Yumi took her eyes off the sea and turned to see Naruto studying the sword with his eyes. Naruto, oblivious to her gaze, continued to study the sword. This sword is said to be the strongest sword in existence. I don't know what it's fully capable of, and although I went through the trials to obtain it, I have doubts about its power. I don't know why I have these doubts, but maybe it's because I have yet to use it in combat to see what it's truly capable of. Ryuho-sensei, when and if the time came, I would find the sword's ultimate technique. He said that when and if the time came, I would bring forth the power of... Yumi placed a hand on his shoulder, snapping him out of the daze. Naruto, are you alright? Naruto looked up from the sword, into the worried eyes of the young woman before him. Yeah, I'm fine, just thinking about something, that's all. He gave her a reassuring smile, which the girl returned, but she was still worried about Naruto. She looked at him, then at the sword. Whatever he was thinking about, it definitely had something to do with the sword. The couple turned back to look at the sea. Naruto looked up at the sky, then back at the sword that he held in his right hand. He didn't know if he would be able to ever use his sword's ultimate technique, but he did know that he would try. Sea Country, 9:30 p.m. Ryuho and Kiori were in their room relaxing in bed. After a long day of clan meetings, they were finally able to rest. Ryuho turned on his side to look at his wife. Do you know how beautiful you are? Yes, she said in a cocky manner. Ryuho turned away from her with a pouty face. You're so cocky, I don't even know what to do with you sometimes. She placed her hand on his arm and turned him around to face her. Yes, you do. Look, Hayami will probably be back in another 20 minutes or so. I think you can find something to do with me during the time. I'm sure I can. When Ryuho went to kiss Kaori, a big explosion that shook the compound caused them to stop. Ryuho turned his head to his door. The door blew open and a flurry of shurikens came towards them. Using their instincts, the two jumped out of the way while the shuriken embedded themselves in the headboard. Ryuho grabbed the sword that was always next to his bed. Kaori did the same. 7 people dressed in black stormed into the room. They were taken down quickly. 3 members from the Banished clan came to Ryuho's aid. The brown-haired clan member spoke in an alarmed voice. Lord Ryuho, we are under attack. You need to get out of here and to safety. Ryuho, who walked over to his closet to retrieve his and Kaori's fighting outfits. He spoke in a calm voice. Cover us while we get dressed. Kaori spoke with concern in her voice. How are the children? Some were injured in the explosion in the left wing, while others... He put his head down, causing Ryuho and Kaori to slight widen their eyes in disbelief. Kaori spoke out of concern. What about your sister, Rukowo, is she? She's dead, Rukowo said bluntly. He continued to speak. I found her with a kuna in her chest. I'm sorry, Rukowo. Really, I am, Kaori said, sympathizing with the boy before her. It's okay, Kaori. I will do my best to protect those that are alive. I will honor Leah's memory by protecting the family that she loved so much. Ryuho knew how it felt to lose a sibling, but as much as he sympathized with Rukowo, he knew he needed the boy to do this task for him. Rukowo, I want you to head into town and tell Shinji not to return here. Tell him to get Hayami to Konoha. She'll be safe there. If you get any of the other children to safety, please do so. They are the future of this clan, and I don't want to see them or anyone die. Rukowo, I want you to go with Shinji as well. The young man, around Naruto's age, began to protest. Lord Ryuho, I can't leave while everyone is fighting. I have to protect. Please, Rukowo, just do what your leader asks of you. Ryuho said, hoping the boy would just listen. He bowed. Yes, Lord Ryuho. Come guys, I'm going to need you to cover me so I can get off this mountain undetected. Then the other 2 men with him nodded and headed out. Ryuho and Kaori slipped into their battle wear in under a minute. Ryuho was now wearing a black Keiko gi, with a gold shirt under it and a white robe over the gi. He also had on a black kama, a gold waist sash, and sandals with black tabi. Kaori's outfit was practically the same, minus the robe and the black tabi. Ryuho walked over to his wife and placed his hand under her chin, saying, I want you to be careful, okay? Don't try anything crazy, Kaori. I mean it. Knowing how concerned her husband was, she gave him a passionate kiss. Don't worry about me. You have a job to do as I do. Let's protect our family. Ryuho smiled at his wife. Then both of them blurred out of the room. After 10 minutes or so of helping members on the inside of the compound, Ryuho was now outside of the compound, which from what he could see was burning on the left wing. As he continued to walk outside, he saw a man dressed in a black tunic, matching pants and sandals. There were 5 other people by his side, dressed in the same outfit. He also noticed that the man had a black blade at his side. Ryuho recognized the blade. So, you have come for me, eh, Raikage? Ryuho said. It is an honor to finally meet you, Ryuho. I don't know how you know me. I can only assume that you met Senduru. But to answer your question, I didn't come for you. I came for something in your possession. If you give it to me, then I will stop this onslaught and be on my way. But if you refuse, well, you're a smart man. You know what will happen. Raikage said to the head of the Banished clan. 4 members from the clan landed next to Ryuho. The taller one spoke. Ryuho, Rukowo is off of the mountain and should have informed Shinji of what is transpiring about 10 minutes ago. Hayami will be taken to safety. We offer our aid to you, Lord Ryuho. Each of the men pulled up their swords. Kumoko heard what the man said. You mean to tell me that the little bitch isn't here? Before anyone could react, Kumoko vanished. The taller samurai went after her. I won't let you. He stopped midway, but not of his own accord. It was because Kadon placed a kunai in his chest. He pulled it out, causing the man to fall over dead. The other three who watched their friend die were enraged. The samurai went to attack, then they froze in their tracks when they heard, "Stop. Don't worry about getting Hayami. She's with Shinji. Go. She is safe. I want you to protect the kids that are here. Go." The men did what Ryo said and headed back to the compound. Aisu, giving Ryo an evil smirk, spoke up. "Daki, Roba, I want you to follow Komoko. Make sure that the girl dies and kill this Shinji person as well. Kadon, kill all of the women and children. I'm sure the others are doing that already, but if you would, please assist them so that the process could move along a little faster." Ryo laughed, causing the Raikage to narrow his eyes. "What's so funny? You sent them to their deaths. The man with my daughter is more than capable of taking them on." Ryo's thoughts, however, contradicted what he said. That might be true. However, he has Hayami, which is a liability. If Shinji were by himself, then I know he'd be able to take care of himself. Please, Shinji, protect your cousin. Koen's ears perked up at hearing that someone that strong would be here. He thought that Ryo was the only worthwhile opponent here, and since Ryo was reserved for his master, he didn't really expect to really do anything here. Koen turned around and looked into town. Forget it. They probably can deal with this guy. He is a kid whose skill level is probably not even enough to deal with anyone. She is a liability to him. Thus, there is no reason to get involved. Koen sat on a rock that was about 10 feet away, observing the two men before him. This fight should be interesting, to say the least. The moon in the sky was full. The wind was blowing, and the left wing of the compound was burning in the background. The two swordsmen stood in the grass as the wind caused the grass in their garments to sway. Ryo placed his hand on his sword. Aisu did the same. Slipping into a fighting stance, the two men just studied the other stance. "It's been a long time since I had a good battle, Raikage." "Likewise, but please call me Aisu. I want you to know the name of your killer." The Raikage gripped his blade even tighter. "Oh, but how do you know that I will be the one that dies here?" Ryo asked the man before him while gripping his sword. "Call it a hunch. Once I kill you, I'll take that blade of yours. I thought you wanted Heaven's Blade, but if you came for this sword, then I would be more than glad to give it to you," Ryo said in a sarcastic tone. Aisu's eyes focused on the sword. His eyes narrowed when he didn't see the blade. "Where is the blade, Ryo?" "Just like my daughter, the blade is in capable hands." The smirk Ryo gave drove the Raikage crazy on the inside. Ryo continued, "The blade has a new successor. You came to the wrong place looking for the blade. But don't worry, if you survive this, you'll see it in action soon enough." "Who has the blade?" Aisu asked. "Why does it matter? I said that it was safe. You shouldn't be worrying about that blade. You should be worrying about me and this blade." Ryo phased out of sight and appeared behind the Raikage, swinging his sword at the man's neck. Aisu quickly blocked the sword. Both men jumped back, sliding into a fighting stance. Aisu laughed. "You think I'm some ranked amateur? Either way, I know who has the blade, and Naruto Uzumaki doesn't have enough time to master the blade, which is why he will never be able to use his full potential. Since he has not trained with it for long, he will be dealt with in due time. You, on the other hand, will be dealt with now." Both men of immense power charged at each other. When their swords clashed, bright lights engulfed the area. After it died down 2 minutes later, Ryo and Aisu were standing on opposite sides of each other. Both men were completely unfazed by the power they released. Aisu now had an idea as to why Ryo was considered the best in the business when it came to handling a sword. "This is going to be more fun than I thought." Slipping into a fighting stance, the two men charged at one another again. Koen, on the other hand, stood up and looked off the mountain towards the town below. "Maybe I should follow, just in case." Within a blink of an eye, the blue-haired shinobi from the cloud was gone. 10 minutes later, on a ship heading towards Fire Country, Shinji was pacing back and forth. He couldn't believe what was happening. His family was being attacked, and he was ordered to run. He knew his uncle didn't think of him as cowardly. He was doing what he thought was best. He thought back to 10 minutes ago, when he was informed by Rukowo. Flashback. Shinji and Hayami had just left the circus. Seeing that the girl was tired, he offered to carry her on his back. The girl spoke. "Shinji, was that not a good show? I think we should go again tomorrow." Shinji mumbled to himself. "Your father doesn't have enough books to get me there." "Did you say something, Shinji?" the girl asked. "No," he responded. After walking for about a minute, Shinji could see Rikowo running towards him with various cuts and scrapes on him. Rikowo grabbed Shinji's shirt with both his hands. "Shinji, you have to take her to safety. Our clan is being attacked by some unknown group. I was informed to get the other children away, but it just wasn't possible. It took everything just to get me to you." Shinji put Hayami down. "Our clan is being attacked and you want me to run?" "Yes, Shinji. You have to get away from here. My little sister was murdered, and if you go to aid us, she will be too. This order came strictly from Lord Riho. He wants you to take her to Konoha." Hayami heard her dad's name. "Father," Rikowo pleaded with Shinji. "Please, I don't want to see someone close to my sister's age suffer the same fate. Protect her." Shinji didn't want to do it. He thought he would be much more useful here, but he decided that it was the right course of action. "Okay, but make sure you get any kids you find alive to a safe location. Honor your sister's memory by protecting them. It pains me to leave, but you know as well as I do that it is a possibility, right?" Rikowo closed his eyes. "Yes, this is why it would be better if she was to survive. Get her out of here, Shinji." Shinji grabbed his shoulder, causing the boy to turn around. "You take care of yourself, and don't die. Show them the true power of our clan." He smiled at Shinji. "I will, my friend. You take care of yourself and Hayami. Hayami, don't worry your pretty little head, okay?" The girl nodded, but she couldn't help but worry. Rikowo headed back in the direction he came, until he was out of sight. Shinji wasted no time. He scooped her in his arm and headed to where the ships would be. And a flashback. He looked over to see his cousin sitting against the wall with her knees in her chest. She looked up at Shinji. "Shinji, is everyone going to be okay? Will Mom and Dad be okay?" "I don't know. I wish I could give you an answer, but I just don't know," Shinji answered honestly. But this caused the girl to put her head down more. "I hope everyone will be okay. I don't want anyone to die, Shinji, especially Mom and Dad." Tears started falling from the girl's eyes. Shinji didn't know what to do. The fact is that they were probably the last surviving members in the clan. Shinji didn't want to think like that, but he was a practical person. He walked over and sat next to the girl. She started to sob uncontrollably into his shirt, looking in the night sky. "Riho, you and Kiori better not die. Not for my sake, but for hers." On a ship 10 minutes away, Kumoko was beyond angry. She thought she would be able to kill the girl and send her head to the leaf, and that would be it. She didn't know she was going to have to play cat and mouse. It was so annoying to her, pacing back and forth to bid the time. She couldn't help but to get even angrier. Daki, who was sitting watching her pace, spoke. "You should calm down, Kumoko. We'll catch up to them in due time." She cut her eyes at the man who made that comment. "Calm down? When I have that little bitch's head, then I will calm down. First I'm told to not go after Naruto, and when I go after someone close to him I can't get to that person. It's frustrating, I tell you. I'm going to kill that little girl, and the one she is traveling with. I'll not be satisfied until they are dead." Roba shook his head. "You're so hot-tempered, Kumoko. It's like Daki said, we will catch up to them." "I don't want to hear that. If they get within Konoha's borders before we catch them, then we aren't going to kill them. We have to catch them in Tea Country, so you assholes better keep up once we get off of this piece of shit boat, because I will not be slowing down for any of you." The two men nodded in understanding. Kumoko turned away from them and looked at the sea with an angry look. "You are going to die tonight, little girl. That much is certain." Minashu Compound, 1 hour later. Riho and Aisu were testing each other. Every attack was to learn something about the other. Riho had yet to show off any clan techniques, and Aisu had yet to show off any of his wicked wind techniques. Riho, in his fighting stance, was ready to continue. Aisu was as well. The two men charged one another. This time, Aisu swung his sword, and Riho blocked with his sword. Aisu flipped over the head of the Minashu clan and landed behind him. As soon as his foot touched the ground, he propelled himself into the air. Aisu whispered to himself, "Wind Splitter. He then swung the sword in his right hand in a slashing motion, starting from his left shoulder to the right side of his body, causing a blade of wind to fly at Ryuho. Seeing that the blade of wind was heading his way, Ryuho had no choice but to counter with the jutsu of his own. Ryuho raised the sword slightly above eye level, aiming it at the wind blade coming at him, and whispered, "Sky Slash." The tip of the sword began to glow, and then, in an instant, an energy blast shaped as the triangle tip of the sword shot itself at the wind, cutting through it on impact. With the wind blade split, the split blades made impact on both sides of Ryuho, causing the ground on both sides to break up. Aisu, who was still in the air, moved slightly to his left to avoid the incoming blast. He then landed back on the ground, a couple of feet away from the man with the midnight-colored hair and eyes. The Raikage gave a sickening smile. Ryuho adjusted his sword to point at Aisu. "That was a nice attack, Aisu, but you won't do anything to me using weak attacks such as that. I know the Wicked Wind has more techniques than that. Don't worry about me. I'm just seeing how good you really are, and I must say that I'm impressed at what I'm seeing thus far." Aisu brought the sword he held at his side in front of him, slipping into a fighting stance. Ryuho slipped into a defensive fighting stance and raised his sword above his head. Moving at blinding speeds again, both men found themselves stopping in the middle of the field for the same reason. They both had the tip of each other's blade at their throats. Blood slowly fell down the left side of Ryuho's neck from a slash on that side. Aisu smiled at what he did, but his smile quickly turned to a shocked expression when he realized that blood was coming down the right side of his neck from a slash that Ryuho had caused. Both men just stood there, looking into each other's eyes, showing no fear of the other. Ryuho broke the silence. "You know, I could kill you right now." Aisu decided to reply, "Yes, but I can kill you as well, ending this battle in a complete draw, which I'm sure that neither of us want. Our warrior pride won't allow it." "I suppose you are right. It's clear that this is a battle to the death. Plus, I have no intentions of letting you leave here after what you and your group of ninjas have done to my clan members." Ryuho said the last part with slight anger in his voice. "I guess not, but I told you before that there is no way I can die here." Slowly, very, very slowly, the two men removed their sword from the neck of the other. They jumped back to create space between them. Aisu slipped into an offensive stance, while Ryuho slipped back into a defensive stance. Ryuho spoke once more, always taking an offensive style. The Wicked Wind is nothing more than a style that is used to cause destruction and chaos. Aisu responded in a calm and intellectual tone. "It is destruction and chaos that keeps the world interesting, don't you think? Without destruction and chaos, we would know nothing of pain, and we would have nothing to fear. It is these things that keep society turning. A person who is so used to peace such as you would never understand a man like me. It's not like I care if you do. We all have our goals. In order for me to achieve my goals, I have to go through a wall to get to the other side. That wall just happens to be you." Ryuho shook his head at the man. He had heard something along these lines before. "You sound just like Dansei Kagai. The speech might be a little different, but the motives are the same." Aisu smiled and decided to inform Ryuho of the fact that Dansei Sensei was the man who trained me. Formerly known as Dansei Minashu, he defected from the clan because he did not agree with the teachings. When he left the clan after killing Shinshiro Minashu, who is said to be the strongest and most gifted Minashu ever to be born, he adopted the alias Kagai. I heard that you killed him about 16 years ago. I commend you for doing me a favor. Had you not done it, I would have. But I want to ask you a question. Him killing your brother, the destruction of a loved one, did that not cause you to train towards a goal? Ryuho narrowed his eyes and didn't answer the question, causing Aisu to smile to grow wider. "As I thought, can't you see that chaos and destruction keeps the world going? Had Dansei not killed your brother 25 years ago, would you be at the level that you are now?" "Yes, I would. My brother's death did force me to train towards a goal, but it wasn't vengeance. It was to make sure that what happened to him didn't happen to anyone else that I cared about. It is true that my brother was a genius and a great warrior, and at one point in my life, I did want vengeance for his death. He didn't die a warrior's death. He was killed in his sleep by his best friend. or the person he thought was his best friend. I would tell myself that vengeance wasn't justice, but I knew deep down it wasn't. It wasn't until 23 years ago that I had to face the fact that vengeance and justice were not the same. Knowing the difference between the two, I found a new goal. Ryuho informed Norikage what made him into the person that he saw before him. Aisu gave him a look of disgust. You peace-loving freaks are pathetic. Always going on how protecting your loved ones makes you stronger. Strength comes from the power you have or have obtained. It doesn't come from caring for loved ones. That is the reason the weak use to propel themselves to new heights. In order to become strong, you must cast aside silly emotions such as love if you wish to truly become strong. That is why the wicked wind will always be superior to the pathetic divine wrath and the heavenly sword styles. Say what you will, I will show you firsthand the strength that you can gain from protecting those you care about. Ryuho's chakra flared up, covering his whole body. Aisu saw that Ryuho was finally getting serious, so he followed suit and powered up as well. The two men charged one another, this time breaking the ground beneath their feet as they inched closer. When they got within striking distance, they swung their swords, causing them to slam into each other with extreme force. An explosion caused by the strike blew them back slightly. They landed and then jumped back to engage each other. Swing after swing and block after block. Neither was gaining ground. Aisu brought his sword over his head and came down with the fierce strike that Ryuho avoided by jumping to his left. The ground that was struck by Dragon's Fang broke into large pieces. When Ryuho landed, he was shocked to find that Aisu had appeared right behind him. Shit, his speed increased. Sensing that he was in danger of being struck by the sword, Ryuho used all of the speed that he could muster up and avoided being cut in half from the waist. When Ryuho moved about 10 feet to Aisu's right, he saw that there were 3 black flaming vapor trails where Aisu had slashed, which looked like a claw had slashed the area. With dragon claws extended to the right, Aisu spoke without even looking at Ryuho. You are the first person who actually dodged slashing Dragon's Claw. You should be commended. However, Aisu appeared behind Ryuho again. He thrust his sword forward, but Ryuho was ready this time and blocked his blade. Looking into Aisu's eyes, he grinned at the man before him. Just because you are fast doesn't mean that I can't follow you. Struggling with his sword against the sword in Ryuho's hand, Aisu responded. You may be able to follow me, but you need to ask yourself 2 questions. How long will you be able to follow me? And how long will that blade hold up? If you forgot, the blade I hold in my hands is one of the 4 blades of legend. Only one of those blades can withstand the strikes from the sword. Also, did you forget gifts bestowed on those with mythical contracts? You don't have heaven to bleed anymore, so I don't see you standing against me too long. Ryuho blurred out of sight and appeared a couple of feet behind Aisu. Aisu turned around slowly to face Ryuho, who was thinking about what the wielder of Dragon's Claw said. Shit, he's right. Although this is a good blade, it won't last long against a sword of that caliber. Plus, the mythical contracts do grant those who have them certain gifts. I have to try and end this quickly, but I don't see that happening. Well, isn't this just the perfect situation? Either way, I just stand my ground here and now. It's not over, and I have a few tricks up my sleeve. Ryuho looked at the compound and saw that the left side was still burning. I hope that Kiori and the others are doing the best that they can. Inside the compound, ninjas were everywhere. Clan members didn't have time to react and prepare proper defense, and those who didn't were killed. Kiori was cutting down ninjas with the group she had joined. They were doing all that they could to push their attackers back, but it just wasn't making any difference. It seemed like the more they cut down, the more that came. Kiori looked at Rikowo, who had just joined up with her group. She looked at the boy after the last ninja, and that arm was cut down. Where is she? She's with Shinji, and he's taken her to Konoha. But if I may ask Kiori, why Konoha? Rikowo wondered. Because my son is there, and he'll make sure nothing happens to his sister. I only trust a few people with my daughter's life, and he is one of them. Naruto has proved that he will not let harm come her way. That is why my husband sent her to Konoha. Naruto and Shinji will not let any harm come her way, especially Naruto. I wish Naruto was here now. I just know he could help us, Rikowo said in a hopeful voice. Everyone that had gathered turned around when they heard an evil laugh. Here I thought that this was the greatest samurai clan, yet I hear that you're praying for the help of the Golden Fox. How pathetic. The fact of the matter is that these ninjas beside me came here because of him. He is the reason that your precious clan is being destroyed. It's because of the sins he has caused that the destruction has come your way. The clan members next to Kiori's eyes went wide at that revelation. Kiori snapped and yelled to the man before her. Don't you dare say that. Naruto has nothing to do with this. You came here on your own accord. He closed his eyes and smiled at her. Foolish woman. Did you really think that what he did in Rain and Earth Country would not come back to haunt him? Every action has a reaction, and these men and women are reacting. He took something from them. Now, they'll take something from him. Rikuo looked at Kiori. Kiori, what is he talking about? He's playing mind games to get us to put our guard down. The fact is, Naruto saved Hayami, and made sure that this clan wouldn't be bullied into teaching our techniques to those unworthy to learn them. These shinobi and kunoichi before us are nothing more than puppets. The real reason they are here is because they came for Heaven's Blade. Judging by their expression, you must have forgotten to tell them the real reason why they're here. The kunoichi turned to Kadon. What is she talking about? I thought we came here to kill those who were precious to Uzumaki. You did. However, my boss has other goals in mind. Consider it a trade-off. You get what you want, and he gets what he wants, Kadon explained to the girl. She turned back to Kiori with a smile on her face. Works for me. Rikuo spoke again. So, the whole reason for this attack is because of the blade? Kiori didn't respond. She was thinking to herself. Did Ryuho know this would happen? Now I know why he's been acting strange for weeks and suddenly wanted Naruto to take the trials. She responded to Rikuo's question. Yes, I don't know who your boss is, but he will not get his hands on the blade. Kadana laughed at her again. You really think he can be stopped? The boss always gets what he wants. It doesn't matter. You will die here. Oh, and don't worry about your daughter and her big brother. They'll be joining you shortly. She gripped her sword as tight as she could, and spoke as softly as she could, while maintaining a menacing tone. You will not do anything. You will not do anything to my children. She charged at him and swung at his head. He dodged her sword by jumping up through the hole in the roof. She quickly followed. Both were now on the roof, staring each other down. Her long lavender hair blew in the wind, with the flames dancing in the background. The full moon and millions of stars decorating the night sky. The stage was set. You will not hurt my woman. Foolish woman. It is out of your hands. An elite team is following your daughter, and they will probably intercept her before she makes it to her big brother. She will die. As for your son, as you say, his time will come in 6 months. Your family will die. There is nothing you can do. She shook her head. You are wrong. Your group may have reduced our numbers, and everyone in this house might fall, but as long as there is a breath in Naruto's body, you can believe that at least one Minashi will survive. Why do you place so much faith in him? Do you really think he will miraculously show up and save your daughter? He has no clue to what is transpiring here, and by the time he finds out, you all will be dead. You have no future. No one associated with this clan does. He calmly stated. She didn't know how she knew, but she knew that she was out of her league. But she readied herself for battle. She launched herself at the man and let off a flurry of attacks, with these going thoughts. Naruto, I never told you that I loved you, and any mother would be lucky to have you as a son. I know I'm not your real mother, but the way I feel, it doesn't matter because I feel like I am. Kadon was dodging blow after blow with the greatest of ease. As she kept swinging, her thoughts continued. You showed me the true meaning of strength, and that a person who went through hell like you did can still turn out to be a beautiful soul. She made a horizontal slash, but he dodged it. Before she knew what happened, a foot was placed in her face. The kick sent her flying and crashing down onto the roof they were on. She slowly picked herself up and faced the enemy that stood before her. I don't know if I will be able to win here, but I will fight. Not for my sake, but for yours. Just as you did for my daughter, just as you did for me, just as you did for the clan. I will fight. My dream is for my daughter to grow up and live a long and fruitful life. It has been my dream when I laid eyes on her for the first time. When she was kidnapped, I thought I was robbed of that dream, but you kept that dream alive for me. Your action warranted my daughter calling you brother, as in fact, you did what a brother would have done, what a son would have done. Now I'm doing what a mother must do. I know you can protect yourself, but I will not let this man and his group kill my first dream, nor my second. I want my son to be happy, because you have been through so much pain. I hope all of your pain goes away in due time. I apologize for what you might find when you get here in the morning. I never wanted to hurt you. Know that I loved you and I always will. Take care of your sister, and make both of my dreams come true. Kiori's eyes went wide as she felt the kunai jam itself into her stomach. She could feel the blood slowly leaking out. When Kadan ripped the knife from her stomach, she fell. Kadan was joined by the group who was with him inside the compound. The girl looked at Kiori, who was still breathing. We are done here, sir. Do you want me to kill her or what? He looked at Kiori. No, I want her to watch her clan fall from where she is at. Her wound is too deep, and she will die anyway. I want you to continue the extermination and finish off any clan members you find. Kadan looked at Kiori. You should consider yourself lucky you're still alive, for how brief it may be. With the rest of the group, Kadan vanished off of the roof, leaving Kiori by herself. From her spot, she could see Riho battling. From what she could see, he wasn't faring too well either. A tear fell down her eye. I'm sorry, Riho. I tried. 10:30 p.m. on a boat heading to sea country. Naruto and Yumi were on the deck, looking at the beautiful night sky. I can't wait. When do we arrive? This feels like the longest hour ever, Yumi said. Naruto spoke. Don't worry, Yumi. I'm sure that if you turn to your right, you'll see that a big mountain that stands out from the rest. Yumi did as he said, but her eyes expanded at what she saw. My god, a fire? Naruto turned around and looked in the direction she was looking in. Naruto's eyes went wide as well. The only thing he could say in a shocked state was, "Oh, no."